Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is honestly a video I never thought I would make. In this box is a Traxxas XRT from our good friend Earl Moorhead at Earl Moorhead Racing on his YouTube. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. I don't know if you're watching my stuff, I don't know how you would have missed his channel, but just in case, check it out. So he had to get rid of some cars, and I got the XRT. Hopefully it's okay. Look, UPS put a hole in here. Yeah, so let's open this thing up. Now, honestly, I would never buy a used RC probably from anybody. I don't know. But I just have a feeling like I could just seriously trust Earl. Watching his videos, just listening to him, how he really cares about taking care of people, and you know, he'd want to give a good price to his subscribers. So I jumped on it. And it's funny, the XRT is one of those ones I thought I would never have because it's basically a lowered X-Max, which you probably know. And yeah, I just don't know where it fits between the X-Max and the sledge. And having both, I really didn't see spending that much, but he gave a really good deal on this. So, like, wow, this thing is huge. So yeah, he put X-Max tires on it, and that's, oh, it's different rims. Ah, I thought they were all chrome. So we got two black ones, two chrome ones. The chrome honestly is not in very good shape. So now what I don't know is, we talked and I asked him what battery connectors are on here, and he put really, I think they're probably kind of expensive, anti-spark connectors. And seeing how I didn't need them, I was kind of asking him, you know, what batteries were in here, because he has this thing highly modified. So I was like, God, look at this thing. Oh yeah. So I asked him what battery connectors, and he said he could make me adapters. Which I didn't really want him to have to go through that, but then he offered to throw a new ESC, a whole brand new ESC in this thing. He's got a big block motor in here. So I was like, I'm blown away the fact that he would even offer like a whole brand new ESC. So I told him just do whatever, you know, for you, whatever makes more sense. Because, you know, I know those connectors are expensive. If you want to keep them, pull the ESC, put the other one in there. If not, then, you know, either way, I'm going to have to solder connectors on here, because I don't have any batteries that have that connector. So I'm not trying to kiss up to anybody, but, you know, I know Earl takes good care of his stuff. He bashes them, you know, like we all do. And he said he would go through it before he sent it out. Make sure everything's on the up and up. Oh, here it is. That is a big boy. So, let's see. I'm not 100% sure how this body comes off. I don't have an XRT. It feels like something, doesn't feel like it's moving. Okay, yeah, there's some body clips here too. Okay. See, well, we got the big connectors here. There we have it, guys. And this the RC Guy Garage little wing mount here, because I understand that's one problem that these cars had, was breaking that mount. Alrighty, check it out. So we got an XRT. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw the wheels and that on here, and then we're gonna go take it for a proper run. Oh, I hope this has a Traxxas receiver in it, because he did not send a remote. Alright, I know a place where I'm going to go run this. A place where I took the sledge and I was afraid of making this big jump. But seeing how I feel like this is a little bit tougher and this is more set up for bashing, we're going to go try to do that jump. Well, after I solder some connectors on here, I got some IC5s here. So let's go ahead and solder those on and go run it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I got the connectors here soldered on. Yes, these are IC5s. They have the telemetry for Spectrum, which this would obviously never use because I'm using a Traxxas radio, and Gens Ace batteries. But I felt like these were a better connector. I felt like these were higher grade than any of the EC5s I could find, so I spent the extra money and did that because Earl said that this motor draws so much power it actually melted the terminals off Traxxas batteries. So I had these Gens Aces. I was looking forward to using them, but unfortunately they're too big. I can't get this battery to close, and they're wedged in there pretty good, but I'm not sure how it's going to hold up to if we jump and land on the roof, which inevitably is going to happen. So I mean, it's pretty wedged in there, but I even had to take some of the foam out, and it bows all the plastic out. But yeah, I can't get this thing to lock, so I might have to try to figure out something else. Maybe try to find some 4S's that are a little thinner. I don't know. Or I might just have to scrap this whole thing, sell this, and put the factory electronics in, which I don't want to do because, man, the Traxxas is proud of their motors. But just an option. It's an option. Who knows? I do want to run it like this, so that's why we got all this wired up. And then when I threw this on the bench, I found this. I'm looking around, and this dog bone was just bouncing around here. I was like, what the heck? So I guess through transit, it just sitting in the UPS box, bouncing around the semi, it vibrated out. I did find, and just dropped it, I did find a pin in the bottom of the box that Earl sent. And nothing for the, there's a screw and a piece of plastic, which luckily, you know, I got parts. So I do have the parts here, so I'm going to get it running. So I did contact Earl, because over here it's hard to see at any angle I go in at. It's kind of a little crunchy right there. The plastic looks broke. But what I found out is it's easier to see on this side. Right here, I'm pretty sure those of you that watch his videos, he did this metal brace mod, and then the plastic that's in between is what he ground down, so it was a moot point. But I thought the bulkhead was broke, so I'm glad I contacted him. He called me up, said, hey, you know what's going on? He offered to send anything that I needed, but I'm like, it's not worth the money in postage, plus I have the parts. So I mean, it happens. I mean, these things it's used, it's been driven around, and I'm pretty sure the screw was probably working its way loose, and sitting in a semi from California to Florida, it just shook it out. But you know, like I said, I got the pin. I already have these parts on hand, and I'm glad to know that the bulkhead's not broke, that it's a mod that he did to reinforce and make it stronger. So yeah, you know, it happens. But I figure if he watches the video, I just want him to see, like, yeah, this is how it came out of the box. I didn't pick up on right away, not until I put it up here to do the thing, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, that's all loose. It shouldn't be like that. So let me go ahead and put that in, and then we're gonna go run it. I came out here to run the XRT, and that happened. I wasn't videotaping. I was just running up and down the street, try to make sure everything was dialed in. It was pulling a little bit to one side, so I was just adjusting the trim, no big deal. Was trying to get a couple of full throttle pulls, and tire disintegrated. So I don't know. I gotta figure something out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, here it is, the XRT owned by Earl Moorhead. I purchased. I took it out to film another video, and as you can see, like I showed you, the tire exploded. I do have another set of X-Max tires I can put on here, But what I'm thinking, man, this big block that's in here, this setup here is just wickedly fast. I could not even get, even though I got the vehicle moving down the road pretty fast, and as soon as I went full throttle, this thing just stood up on the back tires. It's like you cannot keep the front end down on this thing. I think it might just be a little too powerful for its own good, to be honest. So I'm kind of afraid to put a brand new set of tires on here, and it just gonna, because these things were like really expanding. I thought the sledge like really scissored up. These really ballooned. I mean, way worse than what I ever even seen on the X. I never seen my X-Max do it. So I do know Earl mentioned he had problems with the rubber on his RCs drying up and getting weak because of the high heat and low humidity there in California. And maybe that's what this is. I'm afraid if I keep pushing it, the rest of the tires are going to do it. Maybe it'll damage the RC. I don't know. I have to think what I want to do here. It's just a lot of power, and these tires are going to keep ballooning like crazy. Now, watching his videos, he always had a problem having to re-glue these things. So I'm not an extreme basher. I know I would say that he's probably not really one, but I think he pushes his cars probably a little harder than what I would. If you guys watch my videos, I don't jump. I know he jumped these things kind of high, not crazy, not Kevin Talbert crazy, or some of the other YouTubers out there that like to send these things to the atmosphere. But I don't know, man. I just have to think about what I'm gonna do. I also had this problem here with the big block. That motor mount is pushing up through the chassis, and I'm not liking that because it's gonna be a matter of time before this busts through. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I'm gonna do. I might just have to detune this thing because this car is just wicked fast. And unfortunately, you know, I would like to videotape and show you what it runs like, but I mean, honestly, you've seen it. If you can watch Earl's videos and see like how powerful and fast this thing is. I wouldn't mind showing you. Unfortunately, like I was just setting it up, taking it up and down the road, trying to get the trim dialed in, make sure we go down the road straight. Doing a couple of pulls before I had the camera rolling, and man, that tire just, man, you should have seen how high that thing went. Oh, man, it was almost hilarious. I didn't know what it was at first. I was like, what the? Because when I looked at the car was still going fine. Normally, you know, when these tires go, they just kind of like they lose the whole thing, and you know, there's bits and pieces. But look, like the foam stayed intact, right? So the foam is still in there. I don't get why a chunk of it came off. You know, this rim here has got a big crack in it. So I got some thinking to do. I don't want to get to the point to where I put so much money into this thing. I would have been better off buying a new one. The shipping got me. I really got taken, and it's not Earl at all. So when I say this, it's not a reflection of Earl, but the shipping, I really got burned on that. And it's not to do with him. Shipping is shipping. I'm a man of my word. I told him I would purchase this. I sent him the money. He told me he would box it up and send it to me the next day. He sent me a copy of the receipt of what he had already paid for at UPS. And at that point, you know, I was committed. I sent him the money. I believe it was like $140 to ship this thing from California to Florida. It was damn expensive. So that really kind of ate into the bargain that the car was. At least for me on my end. I know he gave it away at a pretty good price. What I feel is a like really good price given what it is and the modifications he's done to it. But now, like I said, the modifications here are kind of damaging the body, and it seems like maybe just a little too powerful for what I want it to be. So do I deal with it being this way? Do I detune it to make it a little more reasonable on the speed? You know, basically like a smaller motor and get rid of this thing so it's not damaging the body here. So look at that. Well, that's not going to get fixed now. It's already pushed the plastic up, but it's going to continue to rub through to where it's going to break the body. And if you know, these bodies are not cheap. They're not cheap at all. So
Do I fix this? Do I change this out? Put more money into this thing? Do I find a different mount? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff I got to think about because I don't want this to get to the point, like I said, where I have so much money into it. I could have just bought a brand new one. Even though, you know, still got a really good ESC and everything in here. So even if I change out the motor, we got a really good ESC. But I have to do something with the tires. I don't know. I mean, I can keep running these things or not. Do I risk? Because it really sucks when you go out there and blow a tire. I've never blown a tire on the Sledge or my X-Max. I don't know. I don't want to keep going out there and every single time, poof, piece of tire, and then I'm replacing one tire. I might just, you know, replace all 4, be done with it. But I'm just afraid if I put brand new tires on, this thing is putting down so much power. It's just going to do it to the tire again. I don't know. I said these tires they're kind of old. They've been on here for a while. They've had a lot of runs. They've been re-glued a few times. So, decisions. So I got some thinking I have to do. I hate that. I really wanted to show you guys it driving and running, and we will get to that point one way or another. I just want to get the video out that, you know, I have it, and I did drive it. Man, it is a beast. It will not stay on all 4s. As soon as you give it like the half throttle, it's wanting to stand up. I don't care how fast you are going. Like, I had this thing moving, and it was still just stood up on the back wheels. So you'd think maybe the front tires would blow because they were like really scissored, but yeah. So look for, oh wow, the body's actually cracked right there. I didn't notice that. It is split. Damn. Well, everyone, it's my vehicle now. So I got to think of what all I'm gonna do to this thing. So stay tuned. We'll see how we customize it to make it my RC. Appreciate you watching. Like, shares, comments appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't. Join us for these RC vehicle adventures. Until next time, thanks for watching. Hope to see you on the next one.